We'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to tonight's meeting on this February 15th, Tuesday, the day after Valentine's Day. This is our fourth meeting of the year, and we'll begin with an invocation by Pastor Keith Chaps, and I will lead the pledge. Please rise.
Let's pray. Father, I just want to thank you for this day that you've given us, and I want to thank you for this group of leaders. God, I pray that you would bless them, that you would bless their families. God, that you would protect them, you would keep them safe and healthy. God, and as they endeavor to lead, I pray that you would give them wisdom from on high, that as they're making decisions, God, I pray that you would make it clear what the right decision is. God, that you would help their efforts to be fruitful. God, and I just thank you for what you're doing in this city. God, I pray that your church would come alongside them, that we would help support, to love, and to pray for them, and God, to just love this city well. We just thank you for Jesus and the hope that we have in him. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday.
Here.
Director Elaine Jones.
Here.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Carol Weatherford.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia.
Here.
Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. So we have Director Jones and Director Garcia on Zoom tonight, so welcome, and they certainly,
All right.
thank you. We'll begin with the consideration and approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda or items to be moved from consent agenda to new business?
Mayor, there is one item for the board's consideration to remove from the agenda. It's item number 3, which is entitled Resolution R2221. It's a resolution authorizing you to execute a lease agreement with Dish Wireless concerning a location at the Hollywood water tank. The contract needs to be edited. Prior to your consideration, we would ask the board to make a motion to remove that from tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Dobbs-Smith. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of removing item 3 from the consent agenda, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item is removed. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Director Garcia, seconded by
Second.
Director Trustee. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. This time we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of February 1, 2022. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Director Dobbs-Smith made the motion. Director Jones made the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. Arkansas Broadband Now presentation. CEO Lou McAllister and Vice President Client and Community Relations Elise Smith. Please come forward and welcome to the City Board meeting.
Mayor McCabe, thank you for having us this evening, and directors, thank you for having us here, and Bill Burrow as well. I'll just take about 5 minutes. This is the AR Broadband Now project. We were engaged by the Commerce Department and the legislature to conduct a study of the condition of broadband internet access service across the statewide project, and to develop a 5-year strategic plan for how to efficiently spend the tax money that's coming in here. As many of you may know, we've awarded about $400 million so far across the state for broadband projects to improve internet access across the state in rural areas, unserved and underserved areas. But there's going to be a lot more money, and the legislature in particular wanted to see where we were and to have a plan about spending the money wisely and well going forward. We're trying to make sure we spend the money, the right amount of money in the right places on the right projects with the right partners. So we're developing the strategic plan. We've got an engineering team right now looking at all the available technologies and the cost of those technologies. That's kind of the foundation of what the plan will look like. We are also developing a business plan to make this a sustainable kind of effort, but we're not always going to have tax money coming in to do this. So we've got to be able to make this pay for itself and work. One of the things that we're finding as we go through all 75 counties around the state is that we have a lot of folks who don't know what the internet is. We have a lot of folks who don't understand the benefits of the internet, how it's going to change their children's education or telehealth or their businesses or the recruitment of new companies in or their entrepreneurship. So we're doing a lot of education, and there'll be a big educational effort after the project is over for years to come probably. And then the last input into the plan is the public policy part. Our elected officials, our state legislators, our senators have a lot of work to do to help figure out where money is going to go and how it should be spent and who we're going to be in business with as a state over the next 20 or 25 years in every community in this state, whether it's Glenwood or Wilmot or Marshall or Hot Springs or wherever. We have 98,000 census blocks in the state. My engineering team is looking at all 98,000 of those to see what the business plan is going to look like in each one of those census blocks. It's a big effort. We have a lot of help from providers. Every provider, Resort Cable is here tonight, but every provider in the state has had some kind of input into what we're looking at and helping us out with what the engineering looks like and what the coverage needs to be. We have a lot of work on pricing to do. We have a lot of work on affordability. Just a massive effort. But we conclude this the first week in April and turn it in to the Commerce Department. It'll then become a public document. It'll go in front of the legislators, and there'll be a lot of work happen after that. Elise is in the back. She has surveys. She's been collecting surveys from folks. We have about a little over 15,000 surveys returned so far in our 3.5 months of doing this. We really encourage you to fill out a survey. Let us know how things are going. That's the data collection part we're doing. Y'all may have seen a letter from Nathan Barker earlier. A very thoughtful letter, really high quality feedback for the way things are going here in Hot Springs. We hope to get more stories like that from other citizens. So we want to hear from citizens. We're asking to hear from citizens, and we really appreciate everyone's input. And with that, I'm done. We can.
Anybody have any questions? You know-
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment.
Director Garcia, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you so much for being here this evening. I have heard from a number of small business owners in the Hot Springs area that do not have access to the broadband that they need, and this is a very hot topic for continued growth for businesses as well as the economy overall. So thank you, and if you could leave any of those surveys there, I think we have, and if Bill can make sure we've got electronic copies, but I can make copies and get to people that don't normally use the internet because they are interested. Even the retired people I've talked to are interested in for education and their grandchildren, as well as our business owners. So thank you for taking the time to go to the state and do this, and we want to get all of our area represented in your feedback.
Director Garcia, thank you very much. And Bill does have the survey. He has a QR code. We have a link as well that we can provide so folks can just jump right on that and it'll go straight in and tabulate the results. But we'll make sure that Director Garcia has what she needs. Thank you very much.
Mr. McAllister, the governor's been a strong proponent of of the internet being available within homes and certainly throughout the rural Arkansas. And at the same time, you know, the federal government has a definition of what is high-speed broadband, which perhaps isn't as high as what is really required today. So your evaluation or study, how does it address that, and what could we expect from that?
That's a great question, Mayor. The current FCC standard for broadband is 25 megabits per second download speed and 3 megabits per second upload speed. We think that with new rules coming out in the not too distant future, that may look more like 100 megabits per second down, possibly 100 megabits per second up. Maybe not, though, because of some different technologies that may be applicable. It's going to be faster than the current definition, no matter what. We know that. We are addressing this in terms of, this is a business, we're building a business case based on an engineering problem, essentially. We're going to look at how many people need service, how fast a service do they need, how much money do we have. And knowing two things, we can tell the third thing. So if we know we have X number of dollars and we want 100% of the people in the state to have coverage, we'll be able to know what kind of technologies we're going to buy and what kind of speeds we can deliver. The gold standard in many cases is fiber optic cable, of course, but that is a very expensive long-term build out in some places. So we may have interim steps, slower speeds, less money, but better than what people have now. Some 25 by 3 is better than nothing. It's not 100 megabit, but it's better than nothing. So we'll have some dials in there, if you will, for the policymakers to look at to figure out how many people are going to get coverage, what kind of speed they're going to get, and how many dollars we have to apply. And then we can figure out what the program is going to look like going forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from board members? Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you all again. I appreciate your time very much.
We'll move on to the city manager's report. Mr. Burrow.
Thank you, Mayor, and Mr. Troutman's in the audience today. Just want to thank him. I know Lance sent this survey over to the chamber, and he was able to get that out on e-blast to about 2,200 users. So we appreciate that and what they did for us there. I want to talk more about our short-term rental inspections, and we continue to have a low pass rate. This past week was no different. We had 22 that passed and 22 that failed. We're putting out some information through a press release and social media that has a link to, and actually we sent it out last week, and I think we're going to get that out again this week. But it's got a link to a sample STR home inspection, and it will definitely save the STR owner time if they look at that sample and kind of look at their particular rental property and make sure that it meets that sample. It'll save them time, it'll save them money, and it won't require us coming back on multiple occasions. We still find the same thing that's happening in most of these that are not passing. It's a smoke detector in a bedroom. It's a GFI plug next to a sink or a water supply. So those are the two main things that we see. We do have some conditional approvals that we've done where it didn't meet the criteria for the window in a bedroom. Those are very difficult to get right now, so we've given a time frame, a conditional approval basically, and a time frame to have that done next year. So we'll look at those again when those become available. But you know, again, I want to just encourage anyone that is applying for a short-term rental application or inspection to look at that sample that we've got out there. You can find that at cityhs.net/STR. And again, it'll save them time and money. I also want to remind any of the current STR business license holder that they must successfully complete their certificate of occupancy inspection and file for renewal prior to May 1st. There will not be any new renewals after May 1st. At that point, it comes in as a new STR, and will go through its special permit requirements as well as the STR license cap at risk. So we still think we're under that amount, but We just don't know until we get a few more weeks under us as far as some of these that are in the funnel now coming out for approval. So just want to encourage those. I know that's been a big topic, and they can find, again, additional information, cityhs.net/STR. Our finance director, Doretha Yates, recently shared with the board our city's November sales tax revenue was up 12.77% over November 2020, and year-to-date, we're up 14.57% through November of 2021. So we hope to continue to see those type of percentages coming in. Police recruiting update. Just a little bit about some of the efforts that Chief Chapman and his staff. We had the police department held an emergency testing of new applicants on February 5th to recruit new open positions. All 7 applicants passed both the written and agility physical fitness portions, which are the first 2 phases of the hiring eligibility process. Last year, our big fall recruiting effort in October, we had 20 applicants, so we're down 7, down from 20 to 7 on this emergency list. And that 20 that we had in October was exhausted by the end of the year, leaving open positions still available. Chief Chapman received approval from Civil Service Commission for the emergency testing. These recruiting events used to bring in more than 100 prospective applicants. And just what we've seen over the past couple of years, nationwide issues, namely the pandemic and just the change of public perception of law enforcement, has really decreased the number of applicants that we're seeing. This is, a time where I want to remind everyone that, we really have a special community in Hot Springs. We have an elite police department with leadership and personnel that are dedicated to serving the men and women that live in our city, that visit our city, and that do business in our city. So, it's still a really, really good occupation. It's a very good job here at the city. So we just encourage those that are looking for or interested in a job such as that to come in and apply. And again, you can get information at cityhs.net/HSPD-recruiting. One of the things that the chief and I have been discussing is keeping that open permanently to accept those applications and still have testings when we need those. That will require civil service approval as well, but that is something that we're communicating about now. We haven't done that in the past, and I think right now what we have on the books is 2 testing a year, and we found that is just not meeting the need that we have. Speaking of the Hot Springs Police Department, their 2021 annual summary will be released tomorrow. Chief Chapman and his team, they've done a lot of work on the summary report. It'll be available on our website at cityhs.net/police. The goal of the report is to make available to the public information about the police department, including all of our 2021 statistics, organizational changes, demographics, accomplishments, new programs, and much more. It's a very detailed report, and in the spirit of being fully transparent, I think it's a well done report. It talks about every really a mirror of the past 3 years and looking at whether we've gone up or down in some of those specific crime categories. I know that we're investing a lot in our police department over the past couple of years. I think we're starting to see that pay off, and really I can't wait to get through the 2022 with some of the improvements that we're bringing. I think that's when we're really going to see the numbers that will be affected by that report. New public art being added along the Greenway. We've got 4 new sculptures being added along the Greenway Trail in the area called Tranquility Garden, which is near the Farmers Market and Artisans Market. 3 of the 4 sculptures have been in place, and the final one will be added when the platform is complete. You're starting to see a lot of pieces in that area, and it's really looking good. Board meetings in high definition. We're pleased to have completed a 3-year upgrade of the board chambers. We're having a little problem tonight with the volume on some of our TVs, so we're going to have to work through some of these bugs. But it's been a 3-year process. I want to thank Jeff Winter and Patrick Dobbs for the work they've been doing, and really it's a whole new streaming effort that we have. YouTube, cityhs.net/board videos if you want to get back in and see any of the archive footage. Last but not least are a couple items, Mayor, are 5/8 cent sales tax proceeds that just passed this past Tuesday. That, I've had a couple of questions on when we're going to start paving, when we're going to start using the money. Those collections don't actually start till July the 1st. We'll probably see our first monies here sometime in September before we see that first payment. And then one of the things that our finance director, Doretha, and I have discussed and will be doing is setting up a separate fund specifically for that 5/8 cent tax that we'll be receiving, so we can show exactly how much money's come in and exactly where we spent those dollars in terms of paving. We made a lot of commitments over the last 6 weeks and a lot of presentations, and I want to make sure that that we've got a way to show that when those questions arise, and I'm sure they will. But again, just in an effort to be totally transparent, we'll set up a fund just for that account. Solar, Scenic Hill Solar, I've been in contact with them. We've kind of got that ball moving again. As you know, we've only got 1 megawatt built at this time at our Southwest Water Treatment Plant. We're hope to have 12.55 megawatt of DC power at the end of this project. We're looking at and actually starting to clear a lot of the property out by our Davidson wastewater treatment plant. Scenic Hill Solar is contracting with the vendor there to do that, and we're also looking at some additional property to purchase out by our new water supply out off of Randall Road. So those are moving again. Hopefully I'll be able to give you an update real soon on where we're at on that. And Mayor, that'll conclude my report.
Very good. Board of Directors announcements, upcoming events. Do we have any Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to invite everyone out on Saturday, this Saturday, the 19th, for the Special Olympics Polar Plunge. It will be at the Hot Springs Health and Fitness Club, located 28 Lake Hamilton Drive, just off of Central by the mall. And there will be on-site registration at 10 a.m. and the plunge will actually take place at 11 a.m. All the funds are for Special Olympics. If you've ever seen a smile on a child's face that's participated in Special Olympics, it would do your heart good, and you would donate $1 up to ever how much you could donate for this cause. And as there was just some comments about our police department, I'm making a pledge to the team from our Hot Springs Police Department. I understand that they in the SWAT group will have a team out there, and it'll be entertaining just to watch all the teams. So stop by there. You know, our police department is not only a model across the state, but they do so many things for our community and for charities and that people do not know anything about. They're always giving back, in addition to putting their lives on the line every day for each of our residents. And I'm happy to support them in this effort in the Polar Plunge for Special Olympics Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Director Holliday.
Yes, so this Sunday on the 20th from 2 to 4, there will be a candidate town hall hosted by the Democratic Party of Garland County. So if anyone is interested in hearing from some of the Democratic candidates, there are local, state, and national candidates that will be there speaking to the public. It's at Whittington Place at 301 Whittington this Sunday from 2 to 4. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Any other announcements? I want to recognize an individual who's in the audience this evening, Judge Darrell Mahoney, the Garland County Judge. Welcome. I know that Bill had made a comment on the passage of the road funding, and I know that Darrell and Bill worked very hard on that in educating the public as to what that was all about and what it wasn't about. And so, and I know that he's also very interested in broadband, within the county, and certainly rural Garland County has needs very different than what we might have right here in the city proper. So there's a couple subjects here that we're discussing tonight that he's integrally involved in, and we appreciate his teamwork with the city of Hot Springs in addressing these and other issues that we face together. So appreciate your attendance tonight. At this time, we'll review the consent agenda. These are items of a routine nature that do not merit individual discussion. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. All in favor of the consent agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. This time we'll consider resolution R-22-23 and ask the council to read by title.
Mayor, this is Resolution R-22-23, a resolution authorizing the City of Hot Springs to opt in to national opioid litigation settlement against pharmaceutical manufacturer Endo Health Solutions and Endo Pharmaceuticals, Inc., by authorizing the mayor to execute a subdivision settlement participation form. That concludes your reading. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Holliday, seconded by
Second.
Director Trustee. Or was that, did you make the motion? Okay, very good. And our staff report will be provided by Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, our entire nation has been impacted by the addiction and dependency on opioids, both those that have been legally prescribed as well as those that have been secured in a criminal fashion. In 2017, the President of the United States declared this to be a public health emergency. Arkansas hospitals and rehabilitation centers across the state struggle to keep pace with the flood of victims, dealing with the burden that this crisis and epidemic has put upon them, as well as municipalities that have to deal with the abatement of cost associated in society. The state of Arkansas has been involved in national negotiations in this litigation. One such litigation has been proposed for settlement. This involves Endo Pharmaceuticals, Inc. and Endo Health Solutions. In order for local municipalities to participate in those settlements, a participation form is required. This resolution would authorize you to exercise that right by executing this form, so that we can share in the proceeds that may be forthcoming from settlement.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Albright? Did we have anybody sign up on this?
No, sir.
No. Any discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs-Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. Now we'll consider resolution R-22-24, and I'd ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-22-24, resolution awarding a bid to Belt Construction, Inc. for the raw water supply transmission pipeline contract 2, Washita Water Treatment Plant to Upper Lake Hamilton and Mazarn Creek to Airport Road. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Lane Jones, seconded by
Yes, sir.
Director Holliday. Our staff report will be provided by City Engineer Todd Pillar. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Staff recommends that we award the contract to Belt Construction. We took bids on January 18th, and Belt was the low responsive bidder of 4 bidders. And contract 2 is the 4th contract to be bid as part of the raw water transmission main. Contract 1 is complete, which was built by Belt Construction. Contract 3 and contract 5 are under construction. All the right-of-way and everything's been cleared. And they finally got delivery of pipe, and either K-Jax got pipe right before Christmas, and McKee on contract 3 got it just last week. So contract 2 consists of 20,500 linear feet of 42-inch welded pipe, which is just under 4 miles. And it runs from where contract 1 stopped at the Washita Water Plant, runs down to Lake Hamilton. And then the second section goes from the south side of Mazarin Creek near Northmore Road and connects to the beginning of contract 5 at Airport Road. The contract came in at $9,167,669, and it was a very good bid because the engineer's estimate was $11.4 million. And it will be funded from the 2020 water bond issue.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Pillar? Questions from the board? Thank you.
I've got one.
Oh, yes,
Mayor.
Director Trustee.
Thank you, sir. Todd, this is another contract in an overall project, $100 million or so. So are we on target as far as budget? And are there ample funds to complete these projects?
We
From that
believe
bond
so.
issue?
The big wild card, at least in staff's mind, is the water plant at Amity Road on 33 acres.
Yes.
Is at the health department right now for approval. And we'll probably bid that here, I would say within the next couple of months when we get health department approval. And that'll really tell us where we're at. With the amount of concrete we have and the different contracts we have at the water plant, that will tell us where we are on our budget, I think.
Okay.
City Manager Bill Burrow may say something different, but
Well, I mean, so far, all of our meetings with Chris and all of the information that we've received from them, we're actually under budget
Okay.
in the projects that we've released up to date. This particular project came in, I think, at 11, we had it budgeted 11.2 million, came in at 9.4. So that's, that's a pretty good window. We are seeing prices go up in almost every department, everything that we're doing. But it really depends on, what the price is at the time, when those particular companies purchased any pipe, and how many jobs they have going at the time. So we've been fortunate to have 3 really, really good contractors that are bidding against each other for each one of these projects. They're already here to some extent, mobilized. So, if we can continue with that, I think it'll be good. This plant's going to be the same way. We'll probably have multiple vendors, multiple companies bidding on that, and probably more than one working on that plant at any given time in different portions of it. So from the information that we've had from our engineers to this point, we're on track. We're on track on time, and we're on track on budget.
Well,
I agree.
Great. Thank
And
you.
I can't speculate what's going to happen later, but right now we're in good shape.
And that's all I was asking, everything so far. Thank you.
thank you.
Any further questions of Mr. Pillar? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody sign up to speak on this item?
No, sir.
No, no one signed up. Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. The 3 final action items of this evening are all ordinances, so at this time I'll entertain we're going to consider ordinance 02209, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
So moved.
I got Director Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules and read by title only, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion's approved. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-22-09, an ordinance waiving competitive bidding and approving the purchase of a certain Tiger brand mowing equipment from Little Rock Equipment Sales, Inc. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. And our staff report will be provided by Ron Swivart, Director of Public Works. Welcome.
Good evening. Staff is recommending waiving the competitive bidding for the purchase of 2 Tiger mowing attachments. One will be a 60-inch side-mounted attachment for the new tractor, which was approved in the consent agenda. And the other one will be a rear-mounted flail attachment mounted on an existing tractor. This will allow the existing tractor to mow in a wider path and make it more efficient. We also chose Little Rock Equipment Sales as they are the sole provider of Tiger mowing equipment in the state of Arkansas. City has utilized Tiger brand bush hog mowers for over 20 years. Tiger mowers have been found to be reasonably priced and very reliable, and this aids in standardizing parts and maintenance throughout the division. Although this is not a state-approved Sourcewell contract, the city is taking advantage of the discounts provided by Sourcewell.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Anybody sign up to speak on this?
No, sir.
No. Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Dobbs-Smith,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee,
Aye.
Holliday,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. This time we'll consider ordinance 02210, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. We all got masks on. It's kind of hard to see lips moving. So we got a motion and a second. All in favor to suspend the rules, read by title only, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
There you go. Okay, council, please read by title.
Did you call it 2210?
2210.
An ordinance approving the dissolution of Improvement District in the City of Hot Springs, Arkansas, known as Central Business Improvement District Number 3. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director
Second.
Smith, seconded by Director Jones. Elaine. Yeah, and again, our staff report will be, oh, wait, I'm sorry. Pardon? I've lost track.
You're good.
We're good.
You have a second, Elaine Jones.
Yeah, we have a second. I'm
Ma-
sorry, and Brian Albright, City Attorney, will provide a staff report.
Thank you, Mayor.
That was
Back
a short read.
back in December of 2002, the City of Hot Springs, pursuant to state law, established the Central Improvement District Number 3. That generally is the geographical area from Spring Street up to Market on that side of Central, and from Prospect up to Washita on the other side of Central. The purpose of that improvement district was to essentially float a bond that was paid by assessments to the property owners by the commission itself for certain improvements, primarily streetscape improvements there. All of that indebtedness has been paid off, and so the commissioners have met and have petitioned to dissolve the CBID number 3 pursuant to Arkansas Code 14-184-130. Petition was also received by more than 50% of the outstanding owners of value in that district. And so with there not being any outstanding indebtedness, we would ask the board to approve the dissolution of CBID 3. However, the effective date of that dissolution would be March 31, 2022. That's to give them a little bit of time to wind up their ending business, including getting a refund from an insurance premium that they have prepaid, and to pay out any proceeds that they may have left over to the district owners.
Any questions of Mr. Albright? Anyone sign up to speak on this?
No, sir.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee,
Aye.
Holliday,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Dobbs-Smith,
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action item of the evening is to consider ordinance 02211. And I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to read by title only. Signify, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Please read by title.
Ordinance O-22-11, an ordinance approving C3 neighborhood commercial zoning on lots 1 through 3 in J.P. Millard's addition subdivision, amending the future land use plan map to designate the area commercial enclave and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Dobbs-Smith. Our staff report will be provided by Director of Planning and Development, Ms. Cassie Selman. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Pleased to be here. The applicant on this item is Ms. Andrea Akert, and she's representing the property owner Fortune Park LLC, seeking to change the zoning from R4 medium-high density residential to C3 office neighborhood commercial for a property approximately a half acre, just a little under, generally located at the northeast corner of Gossett Place and Cones Road. The property right now is developed with a single-family residence, which is in a significant state of disrepair. The property under consideration is lots 1 to 3 of Block 2 in J.P. Millard's subdivision. There's approximately 150 linear feet of frontage on Gossett Place and approximately the same on Cones Road. Existing commercial development and employment centers exist near the property. The applicant has purchased this property as of October. The finding to Planning Commission on this application is that the applicant complies with the requirements for a zone change per Hot Springs Code, Section 16.2.11c. Originally, the applicant applied for a change to lots 1 to 5 and has amended that request to be only lots 1 to 3. Lots 4 and 5 will remain residentially zoned to provide a buffer to the developed single-family residence to the north. The application convincingly addresses certain review criteria and the findings of fact found in Hot Springs Code 16.2.11e1. It demonstrates compatibility with surrounding development and zoning by providing a wooded buffer on the 2 lots, 4 and 5, that will remain residential. It responds to a significant change in surrounding physical, economic, land use, and other conditions because of recent development and proposed Malvern Avenue redevelopment within a mile of the subject. The future land use map designation of residential medium-high is not consistent with the request for C3 office neighborhood commercial, and the designation on the future land use map should be changed to commercial enclave to support the requested rezone. Planning Commission advertised and called for testimony at their regularly scheduled January 13th meeting. A resident of 110 Gossett asked about whether the trees would remain in the buffer area. They will. And whether her property values would be negatively impacted, and this is, of course, unknown. By their 7-0 vote, accepting the findings and recommendation of the staff report, Planning Commission recommends to the board that you adopt the ordinance amending the zoning map for lots 1 to 3 from R4 to C3 and amending the future land use plan map designation to commercial enclave for the subject property because the requirements of Hot Springs Code, Section 16.2.11e are met. That concludes the presentation.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Selman by directors? Thank you.
I had one.
Oh, Director Garcia.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Director Selman, after the questions were answered to the resident, it's my understanding there was no opposition to this change by citizens. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions of Ms. Selman? Thank you. Did we have anybody from the audience sign up?
No, sir.
No? Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Garcia.
Sorry. Yes, aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. That completes the action items for today's meeting. Now we'll entertain directors' items for discussion. Do we have Director Holliday?
Yeah, so I wanted to revisit a little bit the work session that we had in January with Ilex Organics, and I have a couple of questions I'd like to have staff relay to them and get some more information back, perhaps early next week if possible, but wanted to just share that information with you all. So if you also had questions or comments or things that you wanted some clarification on, it is something I would like to see come before the board sometime in the relatively near future for us to consider, but I do think that was a lot of information, and I know I'd like a little bit more clarification, so if anyone else also has any questions, that I'm just would like you to send it to Bill if you're able to communicate with them and get more information for us in advance of that coming before the board.
And this is the Yopon.
Correct. Yep. The sustainable harvest of the Yopon holly in Northwoods.
Very good. Any other items for discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
since our last Board of Directors meeting, I have had grandbaby number 6 born to my daughter and her husband in Fort Smith. Born on 2/2/22, so that maybe when I'm older I'll be able to remember his birthday. But Bennett Lane Burton was born about 10 o'clock that morning, came in at a healthy 8 pounds, 12 ounces, and he and Mom and all the siblings are doing well. And I do have pictures if anyone wants to hang around after the meeting to see.
Very good. Well, we had
Proud Grandpa.
That's right.
a couple special activities taking place since we last met. We had a college baseball tournament at Majestic Park, and I understand the fire department was called upon to man the hose and spray the field to remove the ice so that the players could take the field. So
We loaned them a hose.
it was one of those cold spring days, I guess, as we were kind of thawing out, but it wasn't quite quick enough. So they came and helped. Earlier this week, we had a ribbon cutting at Cedar Glades Park. County Judge Darrell Mahoney and City Manager Bill and I were there, along with a number of others, to ribbon cutting for a pump track there, which is much like a training track to allow you to work on skills in a very safe and smaller area before you go out to the trails themselves. So it's a great addition, and I think right after the ribbon cutting, we had about a 3-year-old or 4-year-old on a little bike scooter moseying around the track and having a great time. And so that's a great addition to the Cedar Glades Park and to mountain biking here in Hot Springs. And then we've been receiving regular updates from Steve Arison at Visit Hot Springs on the League Youth Baseball at Majestic Park. And I think we're in the neighborhood of 350 to 400 youth have signed up to play baseball. We haven't seen baseball at that location now for several years. and with the just magnificent improvements, and I think we're gonna develop some really fine baseball players here in the Hot Springs, greater Garland County area. So hats off to Visit Hot Springs and to all those who are gonna come out and play baseball this spring. So that's all I have. Anybody else have anything else? Director Jones, you have anything to add?
Yes, sir. Look like you had too much Valentine's Day yesterday, Mayor. You hopped up tonight. You ate too much candy.
Too
But
much sugar?
before we leave, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn for the night.
The one and only Director Jones.
One that's already on.
Yeah, okay, we got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Director Trustee wants to go back and check that grandbaby out.
That's right.
Yes,
So,
2-2.
All right, 2-2-22. All in favor,
Yeah.
signify by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign. We are adjourned. Be safe.